There is a bottle in your medicine cabinet right now, or in your purse, or on your nightstand, that your doctor may have told you is safe. It has been advertised on television for decades. It is sold without a prescription. Millions of seniors take it every single day for arthritis, back pain, sore knees, and headaches. And for far too many of them, it is quietly damaging their heart. I'm Dr. Hayes Anderson, and after 22 years in senior health, I've seen firsthand what happens when a medication people trust is actually working against the very system they're trying to protect. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which painkiller I'm talking about, why it is far more dangerous for seniors than the label lets on, what it is doing to your heart and blood pressure right now, and, most importantly, what you can safely use instead to manage pain without the risk. Stay with me, because this is one of those videos that could genuinely change your outcome. Here is the truth that almost never gets explained in a 10-minute doctor's appointment. The FDA has placed a black box warning, the strongest warning label that exists, on an entire class of over-the-counter pain relievers. Not on opioids, not on sleeping pills, on drugs that are sold right next to the vitamins at your local pharmacy. Most seniors have no idea that warning exists. Most people picking up that bottle have never read it. And the pharmacists, who are busy and overwhelmed, rarely have time to say, by the way, if you're over 65 and have any history of heart disease, kidney problems, or high blood pressure, this medication carries real risk for you. The painkillers I'm talking about are NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. That includes ibuprofen, which you may know as Advil or Motrin. It includes naproxen, sold as Aleve. These are the medications marketed as safe, gentle, and appropriate for everyday aches and pains. And in a young, healthy adult with no cardiovascular history, occasional use may be relatively low risk. But you are not a young adult. And what these drugs do inside an aging body is a completely different story. Let me tell you about Carol. Carol was 74 years old, retired, active, a former school teacher who still gardened every morning. She had mild arthritis in both knees. Her doctor had told her ibuprofen was fine for flare-ups. Take 2, as needed. She was careful. She never exceeded the label dose. She took it maybe 3 or 4 times a week during bad stretches. She thought she was managing things responsibly. 18 months later, Carol's blood pressure had climbed from 128/78 to 156/94. She felt bloated. Her ankles were swelling by afternoon. She chalked it up to age, to the heat, to not drinking enough water. When her doctor finally connected the ibuprofen to her symptoms, Carol was stunned. She had been told it was safe. Here is what was happening inside Carol's body, and possibly inside yours. NSAIDs work by blocking specific enzymes called COX-1 and COX-2. These enzymes are responsible for producing prostaglandins, compounds that cause inflammation and pain. Blocking them reduces pain. That part is straightforward. But those same prostaglandins also play a critical role in your kidneys. They help regulate blood flow into the kidney tissue. They help the kidneys do their job of filtering fluid and managing sodium levels. When you block them with ibuprofen or naproxen, the kidneys respond by retaining sodium and water. And when your body is retaining excess fluid, your blood pressure rises. When your blood pressure rises chronically, your heart works harder. A heart that works harder under sustained pressure is a heart that is slowly being pushed toward failure. Stay with me, because this next part is what most people never hear, and it is the most important part of this video. The cardiovascular risk from NSAIDs is not just about blood pressure. A large analysis published in the British Medical Journal examined over 400,000 patients and found that high-dose NSAID use was associated with a significantly elevated risk of heart attack. within the first week of use. Not after years, within days. The risk was highest in seniors, in people with existing heart conditions, and in people with kidney problems. 3 categories that describe a significant portion of the seniors watching this video right now. Donald was 70 years old, former contractor, broad shoulders, the kind of man who never complained about pain. He took naproxen regularly for a rotator cuff injury, had been for about 2 years. He didn't have a heart attack, but what he did have was a gradual worsening of his mild kidney disease that nobody connected to the naproxen until his nephrologist reviewed his full medication list at a follow-up. His kidneys had been quietly losing function, month by month, because the drug he was taking for his shoulder was cutting off the blood flow his kidneys needed to stay healthy. Kidneys and heart are deeply connected. When the kidneys suffer, the heart eventually follows. Now here is where it gets more complicated, and where I want to be careful to give you the full picture, not just the alarming half. Acetaminophen, sold as Tylenol, is often presented as the alternative. And for heart and kidney risk in most seniors, acetaminophen at standard doses is generally considered safer than NSAIDs. But it is not without risk either. At high doses, or when combined with alcohol, even in small amounts, acetaminophen can cause serious liver damage. And because it is in dozens of combination products, nighttime cold remedies, sleep aids, arthritis formulas, many seniors are accidentally taking far more than they realize. Beverly was 67 years old and took a nighttime arthritis formula before bed, a daytime cold remedy when she felt under the weather, and a separate Tylenol for headaches. No single product was over the label limit, but taken together, her total acetaminophen intake on certain days was nearly double the maximum safe dose. The danger is invisible when it comes in different packages. None of this means you have to live in pain. That is not the message here. The message is that pain management in seniors requires a more careful approach than simply reaching for the most familiar bottle. Here is what I want you to do. First, take stock. If you are taking ibuprofen or naproxen regularly, more than a few days in a row, bring that information to your next doctor's visit and ask specifically about cardiovascular and kidney risk given your health history. Second, check every product in your cabinet for acetaminophen. It is listed in the active ingredients. If you take multiple products, add up the total. The maximum safe daily dose for older adults is generally 3,000 milligrams, lower than the standard adult limit. Third, ask your doctor about topical options. Diclofenac gel applied directly to a painful joint delivers anti-inflammatory benefit locally with far less systemic absorption than a pill. For joint and muscle pain, it is one of the most underused tools in senior pain management. Fourth, consider whether inflammation itself, not just the pain, is the real target. Omega-3 fatty acids, turmeric-derived curcumin with black pepper, and gentle daily movement all work to reduce the underlying inflammation driving the pain, rather than simply masking the signal your body is sending. The medications you reach for in moments of pain feel like a small decision, but in an aging body, small decisions made repeatedly over months and years become the architecture of your health. Your heart is working hard for you every single day. It deserves to know what you are putting in your body. I want you to leave this video with one clear thought. Safe is not the same as safe for me, at my age, with my history. Ask that second question. It may be the most important question you ever ask. Tell me in the comments, did you know about the heart risks linked to ibuprofen and naproxen before watching this video? Your answer helps me understand what to cover next, and it might prompt someone else in the comments to take a second look at what is in their medicine cabinet. If this gave you information your doctor hasn't had time to share with you, please send it to someone you love who is managing chronic pain. They deserve to know this too. The next video in this series goes deep into something that connects almost every condition we have covered: chronic inflammation. The silent process that drives heart disease, joint pain, memory decline, and fatigue all at the same time. If you have been watching this series, that video is the one that ties everything together. I will see you there.